Episode 2 of taking every dollar this Integra makes me on social media and putting it right back into the bill. And you guys crushed it on the last few videos, giving us a new total budget of $989. So far, we've spent $170, leaving us with a budget of $819 for this episode. I did a poll on my story to see what mod you guys want to see next, and the overwhelming winner was coilovers. I got these from Yonaka Motorsports for $549 and free shipping, but the best part is that gives us an extra $270 that we can roll into episode 3. These are perfect for this series because they're not too cheap, not too expensive, they're right in the middle. Now it's time to install them, lower that car finally, and test them out. Before getting started, I took some measurements so we can see how much it drops. And also shout out to Crumpled240 who pulled up for many hours of unpaid labor. Okay, first we need to raise the car, take off the wheels, and locate what needs to be removed. The front is pretty simple. We just have to remove the bolt at the bottom of this wishbone piece, the 2 bolts that hold on the brake line, and 1 bolt that holds the strut to the wishbone. Once that piece is loose, we can slide it down and it will be reused with the new coilovers. Now, if we pop the hood, you'll find those 2 nuts on top, and once those are removed, the OEM strut comes right out. And since we have one out, let's compare it to the Yonaka coilover, which you can clearly see is a lot smaller. So without doing any adjustments, this should lower the car a good amount. And these already come with the preload set, so we don't have to mess with that at all. Now to put everything back on in reverse order, slide the wishbone piece over the new coilover. And I personally like to torque everything down to spec. I know a lot of you don't, but that's just what I prefer. All right, the front is complete. Time to move to the rear, and yeah, this is where we encountered a big issue. The bolt that connects the OEM strut to the lower control arm was completely seized in the sleeve of the bushing, making it basically impossible to remove. I ended up cutting these bolts and decided to remove the lower control arms completely. Of the 6 LCA bolts and bushings, 3 of them were completely seized and had to be cut. Then I just unbolted the sway bar end links and the ABS sensor bracket, and it fell right out. And just so you guys can see what happened, that bolt and bushing pretty much fused together. Now, instead of replacing all of these bushings, I decided to just buy aftermarket lower control arms that come with all brand new bushings. And they were only $60, so still within our budget. I also had to get a new set of bolts for $19, and hopefully to avoid this happening again, I applied some anti-seize to only the part of the bolts that touch the bushings and not the thread. This is also day 2 of the install, so I'm on my own. So a quick tip when you're doing this, use the jack to your advantage when you need an extra set of hands. There we go. Now again, we just have to reinstall everything. The 2 nuts on top, the 3 lower control arm bolts on each side, the ABS sensor, sway bar end link, and then torque it all down to spec or just give it some ugga-duggas. Okay, we are done. Let's drop the car down and see how it looks. The coilovers are installed. I drove it around for a bit and look at how low the car is sitting. That looks awesome. I'll show some before and after clips so you guys can see the difference, but it dropped 2.5 inches in the front and 3 inches in the rear. You can also see those new lower control arms in the back. And I will say I can definitely feel the car has less body roll, the suspension is much stiffer, and overall just drives a lot better. The amount of body roll this car had was crazy, but it actually feels a lot more planted now. Also, I just threw the coilovers on there the way they came, but I actually think the back looks perfect, and I might lower the front just a little bit to match, but what do you guys think? And my last question for you all is, what do you want to see in episode 3? New wheels, exhaust, something else? Let me know in the comments.